Hi, my name is Marta Valverde. I'm from Spain and that's where I started training in dance. I started training in hip-hop dance styles, and well, hip-hop wasn't a thing culturally in Spain. The good thing about that was that everyone was making an effort for us to learn it from the ones that started. So they were bringing hip-hop first generation teachers quite regularly so we could learn from them. I also train in contemporary, which I think influences my style. In random or not, I trained in tango for a while when I first arrived in London. Recently I've also been working with my sister. We are working under Back to Basics, creating and exploring and also teaching. Besides dance, I like live music. I like drawing and writing, and I love watching NBA games. And funny enough, one of my first jobs was dancing in the interval for the feminine all-star finals back in Valencia.
I think hope versus trust is all about confidence.
This is an integral part of my personal journey in lockdown, trying to be hopeful.
So to me that means trying to let go of controlling everything. Practice is important for sure, but going with the flow is the key.
There's a lot of uncertainty, especially us as dancers, as to whether we'll be able to get back to normality or what is the new normal.
It's so strange to be part of a company for the first time, the first 2 months, and not actually physically be in the space.
Yeah.
I've never actually worked with Marta before, so this is the first time that I'm training with her, and I can already see that she exudes that confidence and trust in herself when she performs.
I live with Marta, we're sisters. It's great to have, we have that trust and we get along, and it's been great to have someone you can train with and you can try things with, and sometimes to be pushed or push them.
Hope versus trust is about how you build a relationship with something, a prop or a situation, and you get to the point that you trust that it is working with you, so you're not just hoping that it's gonna turn out right or the prop is gonna behave or you've practiced enough so that the situation goes well.
You feel like you've achieved something while you're exploring, and then you film it and you watch it. It's like, why that? When you look at it, it doesn't look like anything. I was always debating, should I film it and see if it works and then amend according to that, or this is more don't worry about how it's gonna look, just do the exploration, and then that's what it is.
Is about building and about choices. Props have been at the center of our practice during lockdown, and every time I start working with a prop, it's very much about experimenting. There'll be things that I see straight away that I want to try and that I'm hoping they're gonna work as I picture them, and some of them do. Some of them just don't. And some of them are just a matter of time. One of the tasks, the anti-bowling, first week that we worked with it, it was just a mess for me. I was knocking the bottles maximum 10 seconds in. And if I wasn't knocking the bottles 10 seconds in, I was literally just looking down. We got to revisit some of the tasks, and first week that I went back to that one, I allowed myself more time. I told myself to trust the props, and first week I actually got to extend the time that I was dancing on it, and then I added an extra week, and on that extra week I managed not just to build on the time, but also add a layer and combine two tasks. one of the main things I've learned that helps that building is to have patience. To have patience with myself and to have patience with the prop. And that's how you start building trust. Like, you come the day after a great practice or a frustrating practice and you're able to see a whole new set of options.
Yeah, but when I started doing it, I was doing something completely different. I was laying out the things and then taking the pictures, and it wasn't quite working because I hadn't emptied the space. Everything else I was behind was kind of getting on the way.
And it's like when we come on the Zoom sessions also.
Just go with that feeling that you're gonna accomplish everything.
We set tasks for each other and we give feedback to each other.
At times it was like you were being completely driven by the music. That was what was making you move. But then other times it really seemed like it was coming from your fingertips, like you were in control. And I just liked that.
There's a level of hoping that if I set someone a task, they're gonna understand what I mean, but also trusting their own vision or their own interpretation of that task.
You are trapped.
You are made of cooked spaghetti.
Alice in Wonderland?
I'm gonna love you. Don't run from me.
Dinner time.
You're shrinking.
Shrinking.
Yeah.
I've been sitting alone for hours, waiting for you to bring your ugliest parts to me. I've been naming our thorns for hours, hoping you'll treat them as kindly as you treated me. Oh.
Of course, there's things that come with practice and repetition, but also that works just get solid if you're able to trust it. Like, this is the same as if you're dancing a duet with someone or just having a conversation and not trusting them, not giving them that space, then you're just gonna make them feel nervous. Like, you can't make the prop nervous because it's gonna be shaky and it's not gonna work. There's been times that rehearsal time's been tight for a piece and you go on stage and you're not at that level of trust, but if you're able to get to that, even like if something goes wrong or it just doesn't go the way it was planned, it just works. And with lockdown, it's been a similar thing. I started like hoping and expecting that it was going to be just a few weeks, and 4 months on and here we are with not much clue what's ahead. It's just a matter of like constantly choosing to trust and kind of to listen to the situation and like what options are at any given time, and choosing like to build from those options that are available. So in conclusion, you gotta keep making those choices, and it's kind of a balance between listening and also kind of being gentle, being patient with what the options are, and pushing like what your vision is, and kind of allowing that balance between the two. Build on your practice, build on your trust on that situation. My favorite moment of our training during lockdown has been every Monday when we would receive a new task for the week, and also by the end of that week when we would share how each of us has resolved the task and seeing how each had a slightly or very different approach to it. My name is Marta Valverde, and this was my episode on hope versus trust.